Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and FPL players of the world. The North versus South second podcast. Myself, Sh.it, and my southern friend, Heath.
How are you, mate? You look a little bit smug.
I'm very happy. I've even got a beer today, guys. I didn't have a beer in the first one, so apologies. But I will generally always have a beer in my hand when I'm doing the podcast, especially after a good fantasy week. Premier League is back, so yeah, this week we'll have FPL highlights, so a bit of discussion and chat about the highlights from the weekend. Then we'll go into his game week review of the week. So myself and Heath will both talk about how his teams did. How we felt about that. Any decisions, any last minute changes did we make that hopefully benefited. I know it benefited some of us, maybe not others. Then we'll go into the shit list. Didn't have a shit list last week, but this week there's a shit list. It's going to be a great shit list, I'm sure. I'm excited to hear Heath. So you should have a mountain of people on there. And then one of his features for this week is going to be a Scout team feature, which you'll see us do most weeks. Heath is doing Watford FC this week. Looking forward to that. Good weekend for him. So I think that should be good and hopefully give you guys some advice to find some cheap pickups there to get you some points. Then we'll go on to shout out to all our followers so far, or people who've joined the league. Then we'll do our game week preview, and then we'll finish off with a quiz. I've got a new exciting quiz to test Heath's knowledge out. So yeah, looking forward.
Okay, yeah. So this is the discussion for this weekend's football. I mean, I don't know about you, mate, but it seemed, I mean, we'll talk about FPL in a second, but football in general, there was this freshness about it. The atmosphere in the grounds, there was this excited feel that it was something we hadn't seen in a while. And when goals went in, the goal celebrations, from the fans it felt more intense. Maybe they ramped it up on the with the highlights and the speakers or something, I don't know, but it just sounded like there was it was a bit more of a raw atmosphere compared to normal.
Definitely. No, I thought, you got, that intensity were there, you had the feel good factor of the fans being back in the grounds. Obviously Football League fans had it a week ago, but the Premier League finally getting that back, it was massive. I mean, I didn't go to a live Premier League ground. I don't support a Premier League team, but I went to a pub and watched the Premier League game, and even in the pub, the atmosphere was sort of like felt better than what it had been towards the back end of last season when you were starting to be allowed to go in the pubs. But it was different. You have to be social distance, sat at your table, whereas people stood at the bar watching the football, and it was a lot busier. And I think those sort of things, benefit football as just when it comes to the hospitality section. But then, you've seen the crowds there, and I must admit, I can't wait to get to a game this season. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I think maybe I'm being kind of a little bit blindsided by the incredible game at Vicarage Road, because I did think that not only were there quite a lot of goals this weekend, but there was some absolute screamers. Obviously, I'm sure I'll talk about one of them from Vicarage Road later on, but there was another one from John McGinn, to be fair, as well, which flew in. But overall, I mean, it's kind of like, I guess, a bit frustrating from my perspective. But when you see the better teams, your Manchester United, your Liverpools, all kind of not only winning but winning comfortably.
Winning well.
It's fantastic to see, really.
They were up for it, weren't they? You saw the games, and they were all up for it, and that was it. You could tell the buzz it was giving players, getting back in there. I mean, yeah, massively. God, I mean, we had 10 wins in the Premier League this season. First game of the season, 10 wins. I can't recall when there was last, a weekend where all 10 games ended up in a win for somebody. There's normally a draw or two in there. I had my money on Burnley Brighton being a
mate. That's exactly what I was about to say.
and I'm sure loads of other people did that. Burnley Brighton 0-0 on my Super 6 straight away. That completely ruined my Super 6 weekend. Wasn't happy about that.
But and again, like not only were 3 of the 4 potential title rivals comprehensive, But you also had the promoted sides all kind of brought something different to the table. Brentford, I mean, that is, I'm not a Brentford fan, but that's spine tingling for them to have that moment on that Friday night to be one of the bigger clubs in the in the country, and not just beat them, but beat them pretty easily in the end.
Are Arsenal a big club anymore? Really?
Well, that's what I said. One of the bigger clubs. I mean, they've got a good history, but they are a mess of a club at the moment. I'm sure Arsenal fans won't disagree with that statement.
Yeah, true, very true.
But they Brentford were great, Watford were great, and even Norwich, who I mean, I didn't get to catch their full game, but I saw the highlights, and on what the Liverpool fans were saying was that Norwich brought a really good feel about them. They were much better than they've seen them in previous years.
They put they worked hard, Norwich. I mean, they put in the effort, and they're not. I still think fancy them to go down, but I don't think they'll be completely waylaid down there and miles behind. But I mean, they were just against the Liverpool team that were too good for them at the end. Going forward, the likes of Salah, Mane, Jota, Firmino when he came on, those guys were linking up. They've just got international players all over the park, and the way they played Liverpool, the press was there again. And well, to be fair, Liverpool got a big season ahead after last year's absolute dread. What ended up being a dreadful title sort of. Trying to keep hold of the title. The title defense was just was not good by their standards. I mean, they started off all right, the top start of December, and then just fell apart. So I think they've got a lot to prove this year, haven't they? So, and I think they still have players out. Henderson won't play, and Thiago won't play, and they have Fabinho on the bench. So I think it was a good show of strength by Liverpool there, but Norwich definitely didn't sort of disgrace themselves, and the fans were behind them all the way as well again. So good to see.
And I think another thing that really stood out for me was the 3 p.m. kickoffs as well, having them back. I mean, not just the Premier League, but also the Football League, the Championship League 1, League 2. Just being able to watch, I didn't have Sky where I was, but I was watching the BBC one. I mean, it's not great when you've got to rely on Dion Dublin, but it was
got over 100 league goals to Dion Dublin.
He had a great header on him, didn't he?
He'd have been an FPL baller, that guy. He'd have been brilliant for an FPL team. He'd have been cheap.
100%. Yeah, he would have been your 6 million, wouldn't he?
Definitely 6 million, 6 penalties. Maybe that year when he played centre half, maybe they'd have put him as a centre half as well. That'd have benefited you as well.
That would have been incredible. Yeah, that would have been unbelievable. But I think having those 3 p.m. kickoffs, the idea that you can go on Twitter and there's goals going in all over the place. I think when it all kicked off with COVID, I thought the idea of having individual games at different times and being able to watch as much football as you want, I thought it would be really good and interesting, but actually, in the end, it's too much of a good thing, really. And by the end of it, I was pretty sick of, and I know it's, again, the thing is, I talk about, it's saying, like, joking about Burnley and Brighton, but Watford were just another one of those teams that people wouldn't want to switch on for. If you were one of those, unless you were Leeds United last year, most people weren't that desperate to watch, teams outside of the, what you would deem as a top 6, maybe not so much now, but your Leeds, your West Hams, your Villas, apart from those 3, really, most people weren't that desperate to watch them. But
but you also, with the 3 o'clock games, you got that buzz of checking the scores on your phone.
Exactly.
You might be at a game, you might be watching your team play in whatever league it is, from Conference North, Conference South, all the way up to Premier League, Scottish League, whatever. And the beauty is that seeing 3 o'clock games in the Premier League is that, you're looking at that, as well. You're keeping your eye on, the scores a bit. You might have a bet on, you might have an acca on. Don't get me wrong, gamble responsibly, people. We're not, saying do anything, but you might have a bet on, but you're checking the 3 o'clock games, and you're looking at that. You're looking at your Super 6, but you're just in general thinking as well, is match of the day going to be worth a watch tonight, or should I stay out and just get drunk instead? And it's, this weekend, watch match of the day. It was brilliant, lots of goals, lots of entertainment.
And I mean, and a nice little segue into, I don't know what you found like highlights for FPL this weekend, but I felt like because of the 3 p.m s, because there were games going off, at the same time, it meant you had 3 or 4 players all playing, and it was very hard to keep up. So there's an element of excitement rather than, if you're watching one game at a time, obviously you're not unless you've got 3 Liverpool, 3 United, or 3 City or something like that, 3 Chelsea, it's unlikely going to have that many players at once. But I thought, I don't know if you noticed it, but there was the FPL actually have the live league updates as well, which was quite interesting. So after a set of fixtures had finished, they actually updated it during the day, which was quite odd because I saw. I mean, my poor score again. We'll come to this in a minute, but like it was the fact that I was thinking, wow, like Stay did well yesterday. But it wasn't. It was the scores had come in late, and it was a real nice welcome addition to what. To be honest, I thought that was kind of going above and beyond for them because I didn't think that they'd be able to do that. But they seem to be on their game, and obviously adding that new features is going to make a big difference because you can, give me stick straight away with your Salah captains and your Fernandez hat tricks.
That's it, and I completely agree with. I think you've nailed on what we should discuss next.
Nice little segue.
Yeah. So I think that leads us on to our game week review, really. So I believe Heath, you're down to go first since you didn't come first, you may as well.
Yeah, I mean, best till last, and begrudgingly, I'll admit that. So honestly, I'm looking at it again, and it's just pathetic. But there were players who I can build upon. But I would be lying right now if I hadn't thought about my wild card. And the reason why, I'll run through my team now, right? So I've got Emi Martinez with 2 points, Lewis Dunk on 2 points, Aaron Cresswell on 7, which was his goal. Ben White with just the solid 1 point there. Keeping with the Arsenal, Bukayo Saka with 1, didn't start the game, came on, was lively. Another Arsenal, Emil Smith-Rowe with just 2 again, looked lively. Then I've got somewhat realistically, I was quite happy about, Emi Buendia at Aston Villa only got 2 points. I'm quite happy with that one. Kai Havertz with 1 point, didn't start. Realistically, that's probably just because of the Super Cup game he had. He played 120 minutes. Should have thought about that. Honestly, that's such a schoolboy error. Yeah, Heung-min Son though, I mean, what a legend. 10 points, well worth every penny in my team. He's such a good player, but he got 10 points. And the 2 strikers, Antonio at West Ham got me 13 points, had a stormer, and Danny Ings, cheeky little goal at the end, penalty. He's on the penalties at Villa, which we probably all expected with 7 points, had him as captain, so got up to 14. My bench was Sanchez with just 2. Chilwell didn't play. Lukaku didn't play. And Reguilon, he got 7 points. I didn't, to be honest, I don't think many people would play defenders against Man City, but I guess I missed out on that one, but I'm not too worried about that. But overall, 55 points. If like any other week, that's not a bad, solid start. But just tell them, Stay. I'm done. Just tell them.
Well, put it this way, let's just go in context here. The average points for this first game week 69. That's quite high. I think for an average game week points, highest points in the whole game 150. So I think, just Arsenal. I mean, God, you put your faith in Arsenal with 3 players, and that just absolutely beat you in the
shocking.
In the nads, so never mind, lads. Move on to next week where you'll just get another beating, so it's fine. Let's go on to the Northern Super Kings. What a team! What a team! The lads have done well this week. I'm not going to lie. We've started the season strong, and we've looked to our 2 main guys that we've spent good money on for the season to bag some points, and that's it. You've got to spend your money well, and that's what we did. So there'll be a couple of gripes when we get onto the shit list because nothing's perfect. But we started off well, and we've got the 3 points in the head-to-head, obviously, so we're clear there, and not doing bad in other things. But so yeah, Jordan Pickford in net, 2 points for him. No clean sheet. I was a little bit annoyed by that because, well, yeah, I just was. Rafa's normally good for some clean sheets, so hopefully he starts that soon. But they obviously dominated the game. Everton, really, they were the better team. Pickford didn't get any save points, so 2 points, that's fine. Mr. Diaz from Manchester City. I think a lot of people were surprised by the result yesterday. But they got 2 points. Then my other 2 defenders, cheap as chips, these guys. So I've got Mr. Amati at Leicester in for 6 points, as they've got centre half problems. So he was a shrewd person in, cheap. And then got the full back at Liverpool, Simicast. I think I might pronounce that right. I think it's
Smashed
a silent T. Yep, excellent. So 6 points from him as well. While long may Andy Robertson just have that niggly injury really, and he can stay playing because he was actually a decent player. Going to the midfield, things start getting big soon, so be prepared. My 2 players practically outscored Heath's entire team, so that's good. Riyad Mahrez 2 points, not brilliant from him, but I'll take it. Harvey Barnes 3 points, and then Bruno Fernandes 20 points. Good man. 3 goals. Yeah, why not? Just do it. And they did it against Leeds as well, which is always good for most neutral football fans. And then Mo Salah. So Mo Salah got 17 points. He was my captain, so I got double for him. I got 34. So, hindsight, if I'd have gone with Fernandes instead of Salah as my captain, I'd have got, 6 more points, which would have
been greedy.
Well, yeah, I know, but I've got some disappointments because, I'll tell you why when I give you my cumulative total. Then up top, Patrick Bamford started 2 points for Leeds. I mean, I was pretty much thinking that's probably, he might have nicked a goal. United don't keep as many clean sheets. Callum Wilson for 6 points. Callum was a late swap into the team, to be fair, because I originally said that he wasn't in the squad, but I had sent Maximin in instead, but I changed something around elsewhere so that I could bring him in instead of St. Maximin, and it worked out well for me. And then the other man, the Brazilian superstar, that is Richarlison, with 11 points up top, 1 goal, 1 assist. I mean, don't get me up to start as to why he's down as a striker, since he plays wide forward generally, and like Mo Salah does, and he's not. So, but 11 points. So well done, Richarlison. You're a good man. I know Heath loves him. Watford legend, wasn't he? So for a year or 2.
I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all. No, good luck to him. I hope he does well. I hope Real Madrid don't come calling from him, with the new manager wanting to get some Everton players like Decore and Richarlison. I hope Real Madrid don't come calling for. That's all I'm saying.
Like
break those Evertonian hearts.
Not bitter at all. Not bitter at all. So yeah, but yeah, so that, yeah, and then my bench, to be fair, nothing would have improved my team on my bench. My keeper Virginia didn't play obviously because I got Pickford in that anyway. Brownhill got 1 point for Burnley, 2 points for Cody at Wolves, and then my Norwich guy, Omo Bamidele, 0 points. He didn't play, so so I put out my strongest side out there and came out with a nice 94 points, which was very, very enjoyable. I'd have taken that at the start of the game week, but I was on 90 points just before the City Spurs game, and I'm thinking, right, City, can we do something here? Can Mahrez get a goal? Can Diaz keep a clean sheet? Can I get the magic 100? That would have been a great start to the season, but it wasn't meant to be. So, and that would have been the difference between making Fernandes captain instead of Salah. Very happy with the game week. As I said, I've comfortably, made a strong start. 3 points in the league head-to-head league table, and a big points difference after 1 week already. 39 points difference there. I mean, ouch.
I want to kind of jump in here, mate. All right, and I want to give you some stick, all right, because you've had a great week this week, right? But it won't last long, and the reason why is you're not going to have Salah and Fernandes scoring goals like that every week, all right? Leeds are just awful against Man United at Old Trafford for some reason. Salah, Norwich just concede goals against Liverpool every single time. So that's not going to happen every week, right? You've got Pickford, who is always a disaster in Everton colours. He's great for England, terrible for Everton. Diaz, to be fair, probably get rotated. Same with Mahrez. Then you got Armati. Well, they just got Leicester coming in, so Tsimikas is going to get replaced by Robertson anytime soon. Harvey Barnes is an injury waiting to happen. Richarlison's off to Real Madrid. Wilson's injured, probably soon. Bamford, well, second season Leeds won't happen. Brownhill's not playing. Cody's rubbish.
The sound of a very bitter man.
Deli. Take him out of your team because he's quite hard to pronounce.
Southerners have never been good at taking defeat, and this is just it, proving it right now. Massively cannot take it.
Don't get me started on Virginia for Everton. Yeah. He's not even on the bench.
Well, doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to be. It's fine. Don't you worry. I've got plans for my next team. I've got ideas. Things are going to be fine. So don't you worry. I use what was best out there for the first game week. All good. All good.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. I'll leave it at that.
But that's the review of the week. Yeah.
So now we have our shit list. This is our first shit list of the season. This says maximum of 5 players from our region, so the north or the south, and basically we'll have to kind of pick and choose depending on how these guys perform. We'll have our reasons for them to be on the list. They can get promoted onto the list or relegated off the list. Maybe it should be the other way around. Basically, Sh.it, I mean, I can't imagine there being many people on your list, right? What have you got?
Well, no, not massively, to be fair. You struggle with that. I mean, the City players are on my shit list. Mahrez, Diaz, didn't really perform. I suppose that they're not on the shit list bad enough to keep them out of my to get rid of them though. But I could have just done with a better performance from City, to be fair, yesterday. So I think City in general would be like across my shit list really on that. There was nothing glaring, to be fair. I didn't see anyone miss an absolute sitter, which cost me an extra 5-6 points. Really, that upset me. So. And generally speaking, I can't complain. So my shit list is thin this week. It's just the 2 City players not getting me up to 100 points. You disappointed me a little bit, but I've thought about it and I forgive you this week. If I'd have lost by 1 or 2 points, we would have had a different story and a lot more abuse going that way. But not today.
Nice.
Let's go to your shit list. Yours must be really good.
When I said a max of 5 players, I'm actually looking of increasing that to maybe 12, 13 players. I've kind of, I initially went full max 5, and then I thought actually it's a bit harsh on a couple of them. So Kai Havertz was initially on the list, but I took him off because I thought, well, it's my fault, not his, that he didn't play. And I think Bukayo Saka was on there. But then I thought, well, he's suffered a lot of unfair abuse, for missing that penalty in the summer, which was an absolute disgrace, by the way. The abuse, not the penalty. The penalty was fine. So I ended up with 3 players on the list. The first one I will say is Emi Buendia, apparently the best player in the Championship last year, didn't turn up at Vicarage Road. I actually, when you said earlier about whether I was looking to bring in Ben Rama, I can't say that Ben Rama was actually in my team really leading up to that Friday. But, now when I look at it, I think to myself, why didn't I go for him? It's easy to say it now. But Buendia looked pretty average against Watford. He goes on there. I've got a feeling that it might just be a one-off and that he might show his class once he kind of settles into the team. But I do think that everyone seemed to go a bit crazy about him, but when he came up with Norwich, people were making excuses saying, well, he was setting them up, but people weren't converting. But I don't think that football's that simple sometimes. I think, sometimes you got to grab the ball by the horns and actually do something yourself. Yeah. He's a talented boy, but
I don't think he's good enough for Premier League. I think he's quality Championship player, bang average Premier League players. If it proves me wrong, fair enough. But
the second guy on my list, again, I have no idea why he didn't play. And this is Thomas Tuchel's fault, not my fault. Ben Chilwell, I'm pretty sure Alonso played in the Super Cup the other day. I wasn't aware of any injury to Chilwell. He didn't play in the Euros. Why isn't he in that team? It made no sense. And honestly, the thing is, if there was any mention that Alonso was going to play, I probably would have. I don't know if I would have picked him, but I probably would have gone with someone else anyway. But he didn't play. He's on the shit list for not playing. He needs to train harder. He needs to work harder. He's a good left back. But when you've got Alonso in front of you, and you're letting my team down, you're on the shit list. I'm sorry, Ben.
He needs to pull his finger out. Yeah,
really let down by him. I'm probably have a word, but the other one is another Ben, and again, this is another big signing for the summer, Ben White. Now, I am not going to be one of those people who patronizes the promoted teams, as I support one of the promoted teams. I didn't expect Brentford to beat Arsenal, but I knew that they would be a competitive, enjoyable team to watch because I've seen them last season and I've seen them a couple of years ago. Brentford are a good team to watch. I did expect Ben White to either keep a clean sheet or actually, have a good game. From what I saw, he did not have a good game. I think from what I saw, really, Kieran Tierney I think Kieran Tierney, Smith Rowe, and when Saka came on, they were the only highlights of that Arsenal team. And Ben White, like I say, made the mistake of bringing him in because I've overthought it. But I think people were desperate for Arsenal to fail, apart from Arsenal fans, obviously, and they might surprise us in the next two very, very difficult games.
I'm surprised you didn't put Aubameyang on the shit list. I mean, you had him in your side at one point, early doors.
Well, yeah, but do you know
Get
what?
him on there.
He was in my team, and again, another last minute. This is the thing why I became I'm glad you brought him up actually, because this is the reason why I got suddenly very trustworthy of Twitter rumors, because someone said that Aubameyang and Lacazette hadn't travelled. So I took out Aubameyang. I thought I was being clever by bringing in Lukaku a week early, thinking he's definitely joining. He's definitely going to play in game week 2. I'll get him in now, and just make sure that my team is probably most of them are going to play. And yeah, I mean, I can't really. I don't want to see Aubameyang in my team, really, to be honest. With Lukaku joining, that's my big striker of the up front. But yeah, no, I'm going to stick with those 3 for now. I don't know if Chilwell will be able to come off it because I think I may have transferred him already. But we'll come to that. We'll come to that with the preview.
Brilliant, excellent. Ben Chilwell, it sounds like you're the number 1 on the shit list, to be fair. Excellent, love it, really do. Well, good. Good shit list there, I think. And obviously, yeah, Heath was a lot more active than I was this year. I'm sure it will always be that way. I'm pretty quick to get someone on my shit list if I can do. So you've caught me in a good mood today, folks. Yeah. So that now takes us on to our feature of the week, which is Scout a Team feature. So you'll see this most weeks. We'll alternate it, as I mentioned before. And Heath is going to talk to us about his Scout a Team this week, which is his team, Watford FC, the Hornets, the one ground in the UK that doesn't serve beer to away fans, which is absolute disgrace, especially when your team's getting battered by Watford as well, even worse. So yeah, take it away.
Yeah. So the reason for this feature is that we see there are obviously a lot of really good FPL content out there. But the one thing I feel like is, maybe there isn't enough about specific teams, going into the fundamentals of those teams. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at specific teams from our region and really kind of like work out what players you should be looking to buy or you shouldn't be looking to buy. So the first player we've got is the good on the eye, or we'd also say like the low scoring FPL player. For Watford, I'm going to go with our new boy, Peter Itobu. Signed him on loan from Stoke City. He's meant to be, an energetic midfielder. he was signed for quite a lot of money from Stoke with the idea that he was going to, work hard off the ball for them and push them, towards mid-table. Unfortunately, it didn't really work for them. I think they got relegated the season he joined. And then I think he got in a bit of a strop about being in the Championship, wasn't that interested. But this is where bargains come from. So I think we've got him on loan. I'm not too sure if we've got a view to a permanent deal, but from what I've seen in pre-season, he's looked very decent. But I don't think he will be someone that will, get you a lot of points. I think he'll be probably, from what I saw the other day against Aston Villa, he'll be one of the best players, for Watford. Maybe similar to an Etienne Capoue, but chances are you won't see him scoring many goals. Although, having said that, he did score an absolute belter in pre-season against Doncaster. So maybe I'll be eating my words there. The next player I've got is the differential, someone who maybe you may not have heard about. It's quite tough because he scored at the weekend, so I think you probably would have heard about him now. But it's one Cucho Hernandez, who Watford signed about 4 or 5 years ago as a young guy. Needs to get his work permit. He went on loan to a couple of Spanish teams in the last couple of years. I believe he got injured in one of the years, so never really got going. Last year, had a decent season. I think he came on, maybe it was 50 seconds into the game and scored. Like, massive super sub. I would put him down as maybe one of the players that you would say he could be starting in the next couple of weeks. And at 5 million as a striker, I think he'll be a really nice differential for most teams. He's got a lot of pace. He's very lively, and he's got like this swagger about him that, to be honest, the last time I saw someone like that was Richarlison, where you just thought, oh, he fits in straight away. The next guy on my list is the newcomer, which again Hernandez could have fallen into this, but I'm going to give it to the guy who started, which is Emmanuel Dennis, who basically came from Club Bruges for I think it's 4 million, 5 million, and not many people really spoke much about him. He scored a couple of goals against, I believe, Real Madrid in Champions League and got his name out there. But he got in a strop about losing his seat on the coach when he was at, I think it was at Bruges, and
it's like being at school, that is, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So he's got this temper about him, and obviously, that's not really good sign. But that's kind of standard for Watford. Watford, being such a small club in the Premier League, they have to sign these players with issues. We had a guy called Jose Hodebas who would get booked every game. He would never get signed for a bigger club because he was temperamental and was, basically a walking yellow card. But the fact is that when it comes off and they're playing every week and they're enjoying themselves, that temper disappears and they just get on with it. And what I saw of Dennis the other day, he was linking up incredibly well with Sai, got a goal and assist. He looked like he had plenty of confidence, took his goal well, maybe a bit of a mistake from Martinez for the goal because it went kind of through him. But he could be our main centre forward. I can't say for sure that he will be, because there wasn't enough to see in pre-season that Xisco Munoz was looking to have him as a main striker. In my opinion, I was quite surprised. I thought he would have gone with the tried and tested Troy Deeney, because he always scores against Aston Villa. But Dennis looked really good, looked really confident, reminded me a little bit of, similar kind of attitude of Odi Nagalo, someone very animated on the pitch and, quite, confident but shy at the same time off the pitch. And we'll see how he gets on. But I think he could be quite a good newcomer. And again, 5 million striker. I mean, that is, if he's playing every week for Watford and he's getting service from Ismail Assar, then I don't think he will score, bags of goals, but he may score, 10, if he plays regularly, he may score 10 to 15, which is, when you're a team like Watford, that's exactly what you want / need. But yeah, moving on.
It's what you want in a fantasy player as well. I think as well.
100%.
You don't have the money to get three 12 million strikers in, or, you know, the top. You can't have Kane, Lukaku, Vardy. Well, you could, but you're not going to have much else. So you do need to find these 5 million players, don't you? And that's why we're doing the scouting feature. So he's, you know, great point there. You know, you're looking for those 10-goal a season, 5 million players. Will get you, you know, enough points to think, well, actually, it's a nice little shrewd one, because that's the difference it can make.
Definitely. And yeah, I mean, I think from my perspective, looking at it as, you know, someone who plays it regularly, plays FPL regularly, you do want to have certain players. But the one thing that worries me a little bit about those last two that I mentioned is this is the reason why they're 5 million. We've got Josh King, who's, you know, not quite fit at the moment. We've got João Pedro, who had a really good season last year. Another young Brazilian coming through, who could be quite an interesting character. We've even got Ashley Fletcher, who came from Middlesbrough, and Troy Deeney. Then you've got, if they can't get sold, you've got Andre Gray and Isaac Success. There's plenty of strikers, and there's only, you know, really one, maybe two spots, because some of these players can play out wide. So I do think that that's the only problem, is that the rotation. And what you're saying there is that actually, when you want to pick a cheapish player, you just want to know that they're going to play every week and give you points off the bench. And I don't know, but at the moment, it seems like if I was a betting man, I would assume that if you scored the week before, you're probably going to get into the team, or he probably won't change too much around. So I would imagine that Hernandez might come off the bench again next week, and Dennis will probably be the main centre forward. But we'll see. The next guy I'm going to go from one extreme to another. So someone who did play very well, but he's my leave it alone player, which is his name's Kuchko, who played centre midfield, box to box midfielder. I believe we bought him on I think it was it wasn't a lot of money from Parma. He's 34 years old, and he just, you know, he's a tough tackler, gets stuck in, showed a lot of skill, to be fair. But the reputation he brings with him from Parma is that he's going to be your walking suspension. He's going to be your player that could get booked most weeks, like I was mentioning earlier with Holibas. Although, I mean, I didn't see enough of him creatively at the weekend. I would say that he looked very lively. Another one that really stood out, like Peter Tobo, who, you know, the fans were licking their lips at the idea of those two playing centre midfield week in, week out. But I do think that, you know, fantasy football wise, I believe he's 5.5 million. You wouldn't want to touch him right now too much. If he was 4.5, maybe, but if he's getting yellow cards every week, gets a red, that's the last thing you want from your bench, to have to think about substituting transferring one of your cheap players.
Yeah, and he did get booked at the weekend, didn't he? So,
he did, yeah. So he lived up to his reputation. And then going from one extreme to another of someone you may want to leave alone to a potential captaincy, if Watford were playing, you know, let's just say, who's the weakest team in the Prem? Let's go with Arsenal. If they were playing Arsenal next week, and, you know, there's all the big teams are playing each other, you can't see one guy to stand out, and you want to go with one captaincy from Watford. It's quite simple. It's Ismaila Sarr, 6 million. I think that maybe there was a few players that really stood out this weekend, but I think if you weren't talking about Ismaila Sarr, then you really don't know football too well, Premier League football too well, because I think he had one of the best, you know, kind of game weeks out of anyone, because 6 million, goal and assist, and he tore Matt Target apart. He just, I believe he got substituted at half time, Target, because he's just so poor, and they pushed Ashley Young back to left back. But Ismaila Sarr, I'm really dreading this Harry Kane transfer, because if it goes through, Tottenham have been linked with Sarr, Liverpool have been linked with Sarr. If he gets sold for 50, 60, 70 million, then we might be in the same position as Aston Villa, where we might have to buy 3 or 4 players to kind of replace him, and that's just not going to be very easy. This guy could easily be playing Champions League for one of the top English teams, without a doubt. And if he's not by next season, I'll be really surprised. But we'll see. But he got quite a lot of goals. I think he got something like 9 goals, 7 assists in the first season in the Prem. The guy is just he's a goals assist machine for a team who got relegated. That's quite impressive. So that's my scout. I mean, overall, Watford played really good counter-attack football. They had Seymour on the left, Sarr on the right, and Dennis up front, and then Hernandez when he came on. And they were just basically allowing the team to have possession. And then as soon as they broke down, they were getting forward as quickly as possible. A lot of pace going forward. And the midfield, like I said, were really, really dominant over Villa's midfield. They didn't have a chance. I will say that I haven't mentioned one defender in here for Watford. And that's because apart from maybe Dan Backman, the rest of them, I couldn't tell you our back four at the moment, because in the moment, that's not the back four I had in my mind, what I thought it would be. I thought it would be Kiko Femenia, Danny Rose, Sirialta, and Trusty Kong or Kabasele or Cathcart. But Sirialta was one of our best players last year. And again, Dan Backman and Foster, I would have gone with Backman, but Foster's such a good, football player. I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow gets back in there, because he's incredible, even at 38 or 39, whatever he is. But yeah, they play very good football, but I do think they'll concede goals. Backman will make a lot of saves, so he's a really good shout. But overall, yeah, Watford were good. I don't know if I've really stressed that.
Yeah, I think well, like I said, at least you won something at the weekend. That's the main thing, isn't it? So yeah. But no, yeah, like I said, unless you're a Watford fan, as people looked into Watford players that much, and obviously I don't, because I've got a Northern team. I'm not picking the Southern players. So, but it's good to see those insights, and it'll be on to me next week to scout a team, which I'm. Are you picking my team to scout next week?
Yeah, go on then. So I'll give you Norwich. Let's start from the bottom up, because people want to find more out about the promoted teams initially. They've seen Burnley, they've seen Newcastle, they know what to expect. But Norwich, I think that would be a good one to see. And obviously, when they're playing Liverpool, it's kind of hard to kind of properly scout them. So I'm not too sure who they're playing next. Let's have a look.
The away at Man City, actually.
Oh, good. Yeah, good luck with that.
Excellent. Well, actually, to be fair, it'd be good. I'll scout the players, and I'll be like, it might actually be worthwhile getting them in, because they'll soon be not playing any of these top sides anymore. Who knows? So yeah, good luck for me. Norwich is next week. Bring on the Canaries. Thank you.
We now have our next section, which is dominated by the North versus South League that we've just basically set up. And I believe, Sh.it, you're going to give us some shout outs and an update.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously appreciate those who've entered the league so far. So we've got a league of 6 so far, which includes myself and Heath. So which is good. So thanks to all of the 4 teams. So quick shout outs. So top of the table after game week is Betty Swallocks FC with 106 points. Good work there. Biggest shout out though goes to the King in the South team, who's actually done a full-on Southern based team. So he's like, what a legend. So exactly what we were looking for from somebody to sort of jump on our sort of our bandwagon and put in either a Southern or Northern team. So yeah, Southerners are actually beating the Northerners in terms of that, having 2 Southern focused teams in our league. So yeah, really glad that somebody has got on that, and thank you for doing that, King in the South. You got 63 points as well, so you beat Heath as well. So you're actually the number 1 South-based team in FPL in our league. So well done there. Long may that continue. You keep being above Heath, that'll just make my day even more sweeter. So yeah, and so yeah, keep doing it. He actually has got his Melasar in his team actually. So yeah, he's he's done well there. He also had your good friend Marcus Alonso in there, who's keeping Ben Chilwell out. So yeah, good work from you. So yeah, like I said, yeah, keep joining the league, guys. We'll make sure that the code's on there and you can join throughout the season. So yeah, you don't, just because you missed the first week doesn't mean you can't still join the league. And thanks to the other joiners as well. We've got Braver Leverkusen B, and then we've got the Greel Deal as well as the other teams who've joined. So yeah, thanks for joining. And yeah, like I said, anyone else who wants to get involved and join the league, please do so. And if anyone's done a Northern team, love to have some support in there as well.
Yeah, I actually have the code here. So the code for our league is V5IR8C. So as State said, feel free to join the league. And obviously it's going to be quite tough now to set up a North or a South team. But you're only 1 week behind. Just do it. Be fun.
Yeah.
Be a laugh. We're doing it. We're having fun.
Yes. I'm having a lot of fun. Yeah, massively. Especially Northern teams, you can get players who score real points as well. So yeah, get them in there. That's the key. Yeah. So yeah, do that. So yeah, so yeah, obviously that good start still. We've got 6 people in this league, that's 4 more than we expected, I think. So yeah, that's good. So that then takes us on to this game week preview, I believe, next. So I think obviously this is we've got a few days before the game week's going to start, but we're going to just go through sort of what we're looking at. And some people may have already been drastic and made some transfers already out of the heat of the moment.
I'll run through my team. I've already made the transfer because, if I'm being honest with you, I'm always a little bit wary of price rise, price drop. So I did get rid of Ben Chilwell, and I brought in the Brentford left back Rico Henry. I know it's a bit of a long shot here. They got Crystal Palace away, so I thought I'd bring him in. I'm looking at it thinking to myself, I'm not saying that Brentford are going to keep a lot of clean sheets, but I do know this guy, and I've seen him playing for Brentford previously. He gets forward a lot. I'm hoping that he'll play quite advanced and get some assists, and he'll get clean sheets because of the way they play. They're a confident team. They will probably concede chances, but they've still got a lot of good defenders around them now. And for me, it was just about seeing how they got on against Arsenal, and they've proven their worth already that they can compete against, one of the weaker teams in the Premier League. So. I shouldn't really be insulting one of my Southern teams, but I am doing that, and you'll see why in a minute. So I've got Emi Martinez, who's got Newcastle at home. I've got Aaron Cresswell, Leicester at home. Rico Henry, Palace away. Lewis Dunk, who's got Watford at home. Then I've got Reguilon at Sergio Reguilon, who's playing Wolves away. Emi Buendia stays in because he's got Newcastle at home. Son. Obviously, he's guaranteed to be playing now, so I'm hoping he'll be playing up front again if Harry Kane still isn't back. He's, like I say, got Wolves away. Havertz is in my team. I'd assume he'll be playing against Arsenal away. Then I've got Danny Ings, Mikel Antonio. Antonio's going to be my vice captain, and I've got big Romelu Lukaku. Welcome to the south. They treated you badly up north in Manchester, and all I can see is plenty of goals, plenty of points, and this guy could be the reason why from zeros to heroes for next week. I'm betting on Watford to score, so I've got Sanchez on my bench, and then listen to this bench. I've got Ben White, I've got Bukayo Saka, I've got Emil Smith-Rowe. No trust whatsoever for Arsenal at home to Chelsea. No trust. They've obviously Ben White's on my shit list. He's also on my bench, and the other two. I think the other two are good. Yeah, all 3 of them are good football players. I just think they've got 2 terrible fixtures coming up. But once they see those out, I'm sure Arsenal will pick up their form, and I hope they'll pick
up points. Definitely.
Yeah. So that's my team, and like, obviously the big welcome of Romelu Lukaku means that he'll be going straight in as my captain, no messing around. you know, if I'm going to be paying a lot of money for him, he's got to be captain worthy. And I don't think many people will have him, so he could be a nice differential for me this week.
Yeah, good. No, can't grumble at that.
Now, come on then. What's your Centurions? Your nervous 90s.
So yeah, let's try and get the 100 this week, guys. That's what we're aiming for. But yeah, not much drastic changes to my side at all. I've made my one transfer. I've taken out Daniel Amati from Leicester. Obviously they've got Vestergaard over the line. I believe Amati will be the one to make way for Vestergaard, and Soyuncu keep his place while Johnny Evans is still getting back to fitness. Obviously Fofana's out injured, so I've taken him out, transferred him out, and I've brought in Luke Thomas, the fullback, young player, but you know, really good. And you know, he got into the side a bit towards the back end of last season, I think, and he, you know, definitely impressed in this short sort of period of game time. So I think he'll hopefully he'll keep going. It's a little bit of a risk, but because they signed Ryan Bertrand, but I think you know, Thomas should hopefully keep his spot, and he's a bit cheaper as well. So yeah, I've got Pickford in net again still. They're playing away at Leeds, Everton. Probably won't keep a clean sheet there, but you know, probably have some saves to make, because Leeds will be playing in front of an Ellen Road crowd in the Premier League for the first time in a long time, and I think, you know, that'll see them, you know, putting a real good show there. So it could get some bonus point saves, or hopefully Leeds get a penalty, because Pickford can save penalties. That's what he's good at. Then so yeah, back three again. Diaz, City at home at Norwich. I think it'll still start. Tsimikas, Liverpool home at Burnley, and then Luke Thomas away to West Ham. I mean, a bit harder to keep clean sheet there, but that'll be my three. I could bring Connor Cody in maybe, but who knows. And then midfield for Mahrez, Fernandes, Salah, Harvey Barnes. You know, Mahrez playing against Norwich, he might be a victim of Pep roulette, who knows. Hopefully not. Fernandes, Man United away at Southampton, you know, playing if he's as long as he's not injured, Fernandes will play pretty much every game this year. Salah home to Burnley for Liverpool. Yeah, I fancy him to get some goals, so he'll probably be the El Capitan again. And then Harvey Barnes for Leicester away at West Ham. You know, he's someone I've got my eye on to maybe sort of transfer out if I don't think he's going to be getting much points. So that's an idea for further down the line. Then your front three, Richarlison away at Leeds. Leeds concede goals. Richarlison scores goals. It's a recipe for points, that is. I'm telling you that now, folks. Recipe. You know, it's like having a good curry, that is. Definitely. Straight away. You know it's going to be good. Callum Wilson, if he stays fit, he'll score goals. Villa will probably concede. If they're conceding 3 to Watford, you fancy Callum Wilson to have a good chance of a sniff of some points. And then Patrick Bamford, Leeds at home, Everton. You know, I think there'll be a different prospect at home. Leeds this year, they'll be strong. He scored 17 goals last season, 11 assists, so I'm sure he'll start firing quickly. Which then leaves my bench. Virginia, he won't be getting any game time this year. He's just a cheap goalkeeper to sort of save me some money. Connor Cody, I may bring him in, you know, if I get any wind of any of my players not playing. Cody would be the one to come in. Brownhill for Burnley at Liverpool. Again, I mean, he played only a sort of short amount of time at the weekend, so he's probably, again, just a filler at the moment. And then the Norwich lad, Omar Bamidele, he's probably going to start once he gets fit, but he's off ill at the moment. So, and I don't mind that at the moment, because they've got a horrible first 4 games. So I think 18th of September they have a nice, easy, winnable game because they're playing Watford. So I think, you know, that could be a time to bring him in. So yeah, so nothing drastic in terms of changes, just the one transfer that I've done, and yeah, I think we'll be happy with that. And as long as there's no major sort of injuries or anything that come out in the media this week.
Yeah, I think I mean, obviously that's a pretty decent team. I hate to say, but the one thing we normally have, like a do's and don'ts kind of section, but we haven't got that this week. But I will say one thing that I would really highly recommend for anyone who is listening. if you can bank your transfer this week, like I said to Stay earlier, we had such a great game week for the first game week. You guys put a lot of time and effort into your teams. Don't go crazy. Don't get angry and transfer out a player just because they didn't perform this week, because that is such a schoolboy error by doing that. If I was, say for instance, where State got 90 odd points, personally I would have banked that transfer because such a solid week. Obviously he had his reasons, and that's fair enough. But personally, I would bank a transfer as often as I can, because the last thing you want to do is give away points by playing, by doing 2 transfers during a week. That's such a waste of points. I think at one point the rules were slightly different and people did it quite often. Now that you can bank a transfer, do it as much as you can. If you can, it'll make a huge difference come the end of the season. You want to make as little transfers as you can, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, echo those thoughts for sure. And I did think about it, but I just thought, yeah, Amani's not going to play now. Vestergaard's been bought. I know they kept a clean sheet, but I think he's got a full week of training with him as Vestergaard now. So I think they'll probably get him in this weekend. So that brings us on to then our is it quiz time? I think it might be quiz time.
That's right, mate. It is. I'm prepared. I'm ready. Focused.
So, if you listen to our first podcast, so the quiz last week, Heath tested my knowledge with players' values, a bit of a higher or lower game, which the copyright means we couldn't call that higher or lower, but we still did, so who cares? But yeah, so this week I've done a different take on it. So we're not doing that. What we're doing is percentages of teams that this player's selected in the FPL. So just for example, I will give Heath the name of a player, and he needs to guess what percentage of teams that player's in the fantasy league this year. I've given him a tough target of trying to be within 5% of it. I don't know if that's a bit harsh or not, but we'll do this one for fun, and and everyone else, if you're listening, write them down. Write down your answers to what you think the percentages are. Now, I took these percentages this morning. I think it was 11 o'clock this morning. I've written down, so I should have been working, but I took time out of my busy work schedule to do this for Heath and his enjoyment, and hopefully watch him get close on a few. So they're all Southern players that I've picked, and I've picked one player from each of the 10 teams that you've got choices to pick from as well. So where would we like to start? Any particular club you'd rather start with, Heath, or are you pretty open here?
I'll be honest, mate. I just had a quick look to see a percentage of one of your players, so like Mo Salah, and I just looked to see how much he was owned, and he's owned by something like 50 odd %. I thought, okay, well that's that. At least I know what the most owned player is. But I think this is going to be extremely tough. But yeah, I'll start with the best. Let's go for Watford.
You want Watford? Well, I'm glad you said that, because this is what it sounds like. He's like your best mate, this guy. Ismail Assar. You seem to have a lot of affection for him. So that's who I picked for you. Ismail Assar. What percentage do you think he is in teams?
Well, all right. So like I say, where Salah's about 50-something %, I can't imagine, there being I can imagine he's the most owned at Watford. Him and Daniel Batman and Ben Foster probably. I can't imagine anyone else owning many other players unless they're trying to get a very, very cheap player in on their bench. So I'll probably go for 12%.
Wow. So this morning, as of 11 o'clock, he was 3.9% owned.
Jeez.
So you're a long way off there. He has gone up though. He's gone up to 4.1%. As of right now, I've just checked it now whilst we're doing this, and he's gone up to 4.1%. So there's been an increase in the market for him. So there you go. Maybe someone's been listening to it. Maybe someone will listen to our podcast, and it might seem surge up to maybe 4.5%. Who knows? But yeah, you're a long way off with that one. I'm not going to give you any kudos for that. I'm sorry, you're not having that. So yeah, that's a fail straight away, big time. But yeah, it is tough this. So don't get me wrong. I'm not going to punish Heath for getting any of these wrong. It's a tough one. So right, you've had Watford now. Since you didn't get close enough, I'll choose your next team. I'll go with your favourite team, Arsenal. Team that's done well for you, obviously this weekend. Sorry, guys, I can't get over it. That's all. So gone for a good player though, Arsenal. So Mr. Tierney, what do you think on him percentage-wise?
Yeah, I obviously I kind of overblew it a little bit with Sarr. And I reckon that Tierney is going to be more owned than Sarr for sure. So I'm going to go for 15%.
Well, you're still going way too high at the moment, I'll say that. So Kieran Tierney is this morning at 11, he was 7.8% owned. He's dropped down to 7.7% as of right now. So
okay.
Yeah. So
I need to do my research.
the gap was less than the Sarr one though. So you're getting closer, but yeah. So Tierney, not.
I'll nail the next one, no problem.
Yeah, definitely. I think to be fair, 7%, that's quite a lot of teams that own him. I know it's not really when you say 7%, but I think it is in terms of this game. Yeah, you're gonna have your Salahs and your Fernandes and all those big players getting like 50%ers, but outside of them, you're not gonna get that many, that are, in the 10+% probably, because it just won't be. I don't think. You'll have maybe a list of maybe 10, 15 players maybe in the game who have, got a high percentage of ownership, I think. But I could be wrong, but that's what I think anyway. So who do you want next then? So you've had Arsenal, you've had Watford. Who else do you fancy?
I'll have a B, please, Bob.
B. So I'll go for the new boys Brentford then for you. So you can go with that. So I've picked the keeper, Raya, for you to have a gamble at.
All right. Well, because he's 4.5 million, I reckon he's owned less than Sarr. I'm gonna go with 3% owned.
That's good. A great shout. So this morning at 11 o'clock, he was 2.9%.
Oh, beautiful.
Now he's 3.1% now. So you're just a 0.1 percentage off. So brilliant work. Yeah, 3.1% as of this moment. 2.9 this morning. So good work. I think you're getting the hang of this now. So
Big time.
Shall we stick with the Bs? You seem to have some luck there. There's another B team that you can have. So yeah. So let's get Brighton. So we've gone Brighton. I've gone for Lewis Dunk for you, so defender. So what do you think Mr. Dunk's at?
Well, as he's obviously he's a high scoring defender, someone who's going to score goals, but because he's 5 million, I'm going to say he's not going to be hugely owned. So I'm going to go with 2% owned.
Oof, you've gone too low there, kid. Too low. So
really,
he's this morning at 11, 6.3%. He's gone down to 6.2% owned, but yeah, 6.2%.
Impressive.
Yeah, no, I was a bit surprised by that, but like you said, scored goals. He got 5 goals last year.
I've got him in my team, to be fair.
There you go. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, Lewis Dunk. Yeah, that's him done. So we'll get him ticked off the list. So who do we want to go for next? Let's go for Chelsea. And your man, the man you pinning all of your hopes and dreams of even getting close to me this year, Romelu Lukaku. You'll basically need him to perform, otherwise you're going to be screwed completely, I think. But
it's a really tricky one because he definitely wasn't playing and he's so much money. I wouldn't expect him to be heavily owned, but I'll go with 5%.
10.3% as of this morning. He's now up to 11.1%.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I've got a bit of egg on my face because I'm having a bit of a stinker on this quiz, but it's interesting. I mean, if anything, the listeners are actually learning more than I've obviously kind of helped them to understand. But
that's fine. Don't worry about it. Things are about to get nicer for you. Don't you worry. Danny Ings, Aston Villa. What are we thinking?
It's got to be fairly well owned. That's a good one, actually. I'm going to go with 15%.
38.6%.
Jesus, that's the worst one. That's my worst one.
he is well owned, this Danny Ings. He's
yeah.
People are buying shares in the guy. That's it, you know. So yeah, 38.6. It was 38.7 this morning, but it's gone down 0.1% for some reason. So yeah, but yeah, there's Danny Ings. Go on to one of your favourite teams, Palace next.
Yeah.
There's only one player worth actually speaking about when you mentioned the name Palace, to be fair, really. So I've gone for him. So Wilfred Zaha. What percentage do you reckon?
It can't be much because they've got not the greatest run of games. So I'm going to go with. I mean, if Zaha is that low owned, then I'm going to go with 8% for Zaha.
No, you're close on this one, so you've done well. So 6.8%. So you've gone 8%. You're not bad there. 1.2 out. I'm happy with that. We'll call that a win for you on that one.
That's 2, right? 2 wins.
Yeah, 2 wins. Yeah, I'm giving you that one. That's good work. So yeah, so that's it. We're down to the last 3 now. So we'll go with Southampton. James Ward-Prowse.
He should be less than Zaha. I'm going to go 5%.
That's another win for you, Heath. 4.2%. 4.2 he is. So good work there. And yeah, I mean, Ward-Prowse, he scored a lot of points last year, and I think he'll do all right for people. But he's a bit more expensive this year, isn't he? 6.5 million. So
and they don't look like I think a lot of people are writing them off
after Ings.
After Ings left and Bertrand left.
I mean, they've got Armstrong in there. They've still got Armstrong, Shea Adams. So they've got some strikers there, maybe, but who knows? We'll see. So we'll go to another player who could have helped your team if you'd have bothered to put him in your starting lineup, Reguilon at Spurs. So, it's nice 7 points on the bench for you. What do you think? What do you think about Reguilon? Do you reckon he's well earned?
No, I don't think he is. And the reason why I don't think he is that I don't think many people would have imagined that Tottenham were going to beat Man City at the weekend, let alone keep a clean sheet. So I think there'll be plenty of Tottenham fans maybe putting him in the team, thinking he's not a bad shout. So I'll put him down as 7%.
Well, you're within the 5% because he's 3.6. So that's classed as a win.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, 3.6. Yeah, I think that's gone up from this morning. So we leave you with the final man, West Ham. There's the only one man to think about. He smiles a lot. He's a legend, this guy. If he played for a Northern team, I'd have him in my squad for sure. Mikel Antonio.
Beautiful. That's what I was hoping you were going to go for. And the reason why I say that is because I'm thinking if Ings is 30%, Antonio's got to be up there too. So I'm going to go 37%.
26.3.
Oh, he's cheaper than Ings, guys. He's cheaper than Ings.
Yeah.
And he had an easier fixture, Newcastle.
I must admit, I'd have been thinking he should be more well earned than Ings, to be fair. But I suppose injury problems. He pulls up with injuries, late before the start of games and stuff. So maybe people are just scared a little bit by that with him. Who knows?
Yeah. To be fair, I say that Newcastle are easier, but let's be honest. Before the game started, everyone would have assumed Villa would have smashed Watford.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair enough. I get it, guys. I get it. I do take it personally that you've chosen Danny Ings, and obviously not cared too much about the might of the Hornets.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed, mate. I mean, my confidence was low after the 55 points, but you've somehow managed to get it lower. Thanks for that.
Oh.
A ridiculously hard quiz.
Yeah. Well, I figured, just kick a man while it's down. That's the motto for the season. And, we'll all have down moments this season in FPL. I'm sure we will. I'm definitely sure I'll have some. But when you get the high moments, you need to really dig them into the people you know haven't done as well.
I agree. And the good thing about it is that next week's quiz, viewers or listeners actually, if you're currently listening at the moment, you're enjoying it and you're thinking, why would I listen to this again next week? Well, I'll give you a reason. Because the quiz was so bloody harsh, I'm going to probably go quite harsh on Mr. State next week, so I can bring him down a peg or two.
Excellent. Well, we'll see. We'll see if that can happen. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? But nah, like I said, I just thought it'd be a bit interesting, find out the percentages, and yeah, I must admit, I was looking at them, like I was guessing the percentages about what I thought for the players when I was thinking, right, I'm going to have this one for the quiz. And I'll tell you what, I didn't do very well either. I think I got 3 or 4, and that was it. And I was like, crikey, you know, some of these were ridiculous. I didn't get Ings, but I looked at Ings first, and then I went a lot lower on Ings, to be fair. I think I went for 20% on Ings. I got close on Antonio. I went 28% with him, so I was happy with that one. But yeah, a lot of them difficult to do, very difficult.
Nice, mate. Good quiz though. Jokes aside, I mean, I love it. I love the idea of it, because that's not something that if I'm being slightly honest with you, I would look at percentages, but I wouldn't be able to work at. Like, I look at it. I don't know how when you pick your team, but when I pick my team, I will look at the percentage of how owned they are, but I wouldn't actually look at the outright number. I'll just see where they are on the list, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, to be fair.
Yeah, it's just good to see what people are doing sometimes. But you know, like I said, it's I mean, I don't pick my players based on the percentage that they're actually known by teams, but I think, you know, at the same time, if you don't know much about someone maybe and you're thinking, hey, that percentage could give you a bit of an inkling, maybe, you know, that so that, you know, there are things to learn from it, that's for sure.
And it also, sorry mate, I was just going to say, it also helps with the players' prices, because if they're heavily owned and they have a stinker, there's a good chance that people might transfer them out. Their price will drop, and vice versa. If they're heavily owned and they have a really good week, then their price might go up because more people want to have them because they're nervous that they'll get hurt by them again. Bruno Fernandes went up this week to 12.1. You'd assume that he'd been heavily owned anyway, but it still went up because he got the hat trick.
Definitely.
And again, if you're not aware of this, it's definitely mentioned on other FPL podcasts. But Man United fans, there are a lot of them out there, and if Man United players start performing well, like your Greenwoods, your Pogbas, their value goes up a lot quicker than most teams. I think it's maybe the same for Liverpool as well, because they've got such a worldwide fan base. But as soon as these players start performing, they desperately want them in their team, and their value goes up a lot quicker than other teams. And you know, so that's just one thing to look out for when you're picking your teams. Okay, great. I mean, if you are still listening, enjoying it, brilliant. We, as we said previously, like to talk about FPL. We like to talk about football, and we thought, why not record this and let other people listen in our conversation, because we enjoy it. And if you're enjoying it, happy days. Absolutely love, you know, the new league. Again, you know, the fact that there's another Southern team, it's just such a we love that. We love that.
Very happy with that. Get in touch with us on Twitter, that man. Get in touch.
And that brings me to the point, actually. Our Twitter handle, I think I got yours wrong last week. Funny, because I found you on there, well, thinking it was you, and it was actually some other randomer called FPL Northerner. So shout out to him. But just to make sure that you're not confused, guys, State's Twitter handle is FPL_Northerner, right? Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct.
You looked at me as if like, what are you saying? And mine is at FPL_Southerner. So it should be easy to find us. If you find one of us, you find the other one, no problem. And please,
we've got the background as well, the North versus South podcast background that tell you that it's us as well.
Yeah, exactly. But please, you know, get in touch with us if you're enjoying it. If you've got anything to add, anything to say, if you want to, you know, kind of like, if you got any questions or your interest in general, then we would love any feedback, even if it's just, you know, kind of constructive criticism, I guess. We'd love to hear from any of you guys on Twitter. And realistically, we're going to carry on doing these every week. You've now got an idea of the structure of what our podcast will be. It will change. There will be different features, different weeks. And yeah, we hope that you join us again. Just again, want to thank you for listening and wish you all good luck.
Yeah, good luck for game week 2, everyone. Apart from Heath.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm joking. I hope you make it a closer contest this week. I'll feel bad for you if I keep demoralising you like this.
Well, I'll be totally honest with you, mate. I am 100% rooting for Eddie Moran. I'm his number 1 fan now. Even if he's got a better Southern team than me, go on, Eddie. Yeah. You go after the state.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Yeah, cheers everyone for listening. Thank you as well.